It. It's your boy, your winner, your bookie, lottery ticket on winner, lottery ticket about to watch all the games, but not before he gets this video to you around this time. 7:12 p.m. on Thursday night as we get this video to you about Week 4 college football. Your video pick for 2 units will be between Kansas as they take on Baylor. Let's tell you what's up on our neck of the woods of the lottery ticket. Okay? So far, 6-7 with our college football picks, minus 110. It's game on this week with the SEC, the Big 12, ACC all starting conference play. We have a feel about most of the games. We have 3 free unit plays between Kansas State, Oklahoma, Florida International Liberty, and Duke, Virginia at tickets_lottery on those. We got a 2-unit video play between Kansas and Baylor. And we also have 5 1-unit leans for you as well. Let's get to the video play. Let's not cut BS, okay? I like Baylor, minus 17.5 here to get it done over Kansas. A couple things here. Baylor has had game film on Kansas, and it was not very impressive if you're a Jayhawks fan. What else is new? Got beat by Coastal Carolina by 15 points at home when you're laying 7. I understand Baylor's got a lot of moving parts, but I think they get up to play Kansas. They're 9-1 against the spread since 2010. And as a result, I think they do well. I think it means a lot more to Baylor in this game than it is to Kansas. Baylor's coming off a New Year's Six Bowl appearance, Sugar Bowl. Kansas has had 4 wins for every year since 2009. So Baylor definitely has a historical edge, the current edge, and every edge. So lean Baylor minus 17.5 there. Your 5 1-unit leans for you today. Okay? Let me get it on something. I like Georgia Southern, your Lafayette under 52. Everybody thought your Lafayette's a opponent offensive team. They're really not. They got most of those points against Iowa State on special teams and in overtime against Georgia State. Georgia Southern really loves to chug down the clock. This is played at your Lafayette, Louisiana. You have a Georgia Southern team that gets most of their players back. A lot of their players tested positive for the coronavirus, so they'll be motivated to do well. Your Lafayette's now the head of the Sun Belt, if you will, so I think these teams go under 52. Kentucky +8 against Auburn. I like that pick. Mainly because of Auburn's struggles during the summer, getting everybody on the same page. We saw what Kansas State did against Arkansas State and teams like that. Like Kentucky +8, it's really about, I think, a 4 to 7 point game. I think you're getting some decent value with Kentucky there. Army and Cincinnati, I like Army +13.5. Army has had a bye week to get prepared to take on Cincinnati. Cincinnati's coming off a big win over Austin Peay, but don't let that fool you. Even though Austin Peay's football team's much better, it's very difficult, especially in this shortened season, this weird season that is 2020, to get prepared against a triple option. We saw that with both Middle Tennessee and UL-Monroe. I think Army keeps it close. I don't think they win outright, but I think it should be closer to 6 or 7 than 13.5. I think it's a steal. So lean 13.5 there. UL-Monroe and UTEP. I like UL-Monroe laying 9.5 here. UL-Monroe's coming off a loss to Texas State, rather embarrassing loss at home. That gives them motivation to do well. UTEP is coming off a win barely against Abilene Christian, the FCS school in Abilene, Texas. UL-Monroe has motivation to do well. 2 straight losses to open the season. UTEP is not. These 2 teams are not really that good. I think you can tell. But I think UL Monroe gets up to play UTEP. UTEP's laid down. I like UL Monroe minus 9.5. Tennessee, South Carolina. I like Tennessee minus 3.5 here. Tennessee's off an 8-5 season with they won the Gator Bowl. South Carolina's coming off a rather dramatic collapse to the last half of the year. Will Muschamp's a good coach. Both these guys are good coaches. But at the end of the day, Will Muschamp has not had much practice time. Tennessee has. And you think that Tennessee would ride that wave and do well this year, and I think he will. I think he'll finish third behind Florida and Georgia in the SEC East. I like Tennessee by over a touchdown, so I lean Tennessee minus 3.5 over South Carolina. Let's get to some other football games here. Again, our 3 unit picks are Kansas State, Oklahoma, Florida International Liberty, and Duke, Virginia at tickets_lottery if you want to hear that, okay? Middle Tennessee's UTESA. I like UTESA in the under here. How many points is Middle Tennessee going to score? I mean, seriously. 0 against Army and 14 against Troy. That's embarrassing. I don't think they'll score more than 20 against UTESA, and I don't think UTESA scores more than 40. So I like the under 60, and I like UTESA minus 6.5. Middle Tennessee is just pathetic. Both these teams are pathetic, but I think UTESA is slightly better between the two. UCF, East Carolina, I actually like the under 77 in this game. It's supposed to be raining in this in Greenville Saturday. Monsoon kind of conditions. Do you really think UCF scores 56 points again against East Carolina like they did Georgia Tech? I think East Carolina gets up to play these guys and limit them to perhaps 49 and keeping the game under 77. I think it's too many points here is what I'd lean. Georgia State, Charlotte, I actually like the under 58 as well. Rain in the forecast, but Georgia State's coming off a heartbreaking double overtime loss to Lafayette. Charlotte's coming off a loss to Appalachian State. And they both gave up more than 35 points in their meeting. That gives motivation for both defenses to bounce back and do well, which I think they do. Therefore, I like the under 58 between Georgia State and Charlotte. Florida State, Miami. I actually like Florida State here. I know it's gross. Florida State is coming off a loss to Georgia Tech. They're out with their head coach, Mike Norvell, because of him testing positive for the coronavirus. But I actually think it could be to Florida State's benefit because that'll open up the playbook. It'll give the players motivation to do well. Of course, they're motivated to do well for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a rivalry game between them and Miami. Number two, they're coming off an embarrassing loss themselves to Georgia Tech at home. That gives them double motivation. Plus, Miami is coming off 2 wins, especially against Louisville on Saturday Night Football. They're on Saturday Night Football again. They're at home. Now the media is telling them how great they are. I think this is a classic letdown spot, and maybe Florida State sneaks inside the number, plus 11, and drives it over 53.5. I like both, though. I like both there. Georgia Tech, Syracuse. This is another ugly underdog that I lean to. I like Syracuse plus 8 here. Georgia Tech and Syracuse are both coming off embarrassing losses last week, especially Georgia Tech to UCF at home. A lot of people think these two teams are going to be bottom feeders. I would agree with that. However, I think Syracuse is coming off 2 losses to North Carolina and Pittsburgh. They play Pittsburgh much more competitively. Plays to Syracuse's benefit. Syracuse doesn't have to travel as much as Georgia Tech does. I think Dino Babers gets up to play Georgia Tech, gets these guys motivated, sneak inside the number, maybe win outright over Georgia Tech. So lean Syracuse plus 8 there. Louisville, Pittsburgh, I like Louisville plus 3. I like Louisville to win outright here. They're coming off a loss to Miami at home. That gives them motivation to do well automatically. Pittsburgh's coming off a win against Syracuse and Austin Peay. Classic letdown spot here. Bounce back, much like a Florida State Miami game. I like Louisville +3. Tennessee, South Carolina, we already talked about. KU, Baylor, same thing. Troy, BYU, I like BYU. BYU's a really good football team. Troy's not as good, even though they killed Middle Tennessee. BYU, much like the Denver Broncos do, they have an advantage over these teams because of the altitude. Utah, Salt Lake, and Provo are still quite high, not as high as Denver, but the altitude plays a difference, especially for a team that's never been to Provo, Utah before. BYU has had 3 weeks off. Troy has had 7 days off, but Troy's going across the country. BYU's already in Provo. Troy's rather good, to my surprise, but I think BYU gets up to play Troy. BYU wants to do well in whatever games they can have. I like BYU -14 over Troy. Alabama, Missouri. I think Alabama covers the 27.5 late. Missouri's just not that good. Even though their defense is quite well, their offense may not get more than a touchdown against Alabama. So I like Alabama now. West Virginia, Oklahoma State. I like West Virginia +7. And this is not because of Oklahoma State's lackluster performance against Tulsa. It's because these two teams always play very close to one another. You go back in the game logs, you see that West Virginia and Oklahoma State play under a touchdown all the time, whether it's Stillwater, Morgantown, 3-9, 10-2, doesn't make a difference. These two teams are rivals. These two teams play each other close. Oklahoma State is coming off a lot of injuries to Tulsa. And West Virginia's coming off a win against Eastern Kentucky. West Virginia has had a week off. Oklahoma State has not. Neil Brown wants to prove himself in the second year. So I like West Virginia plus a points against Oklahoma State. Florida, Missouri, if anything, I like Florida here. Florida has a lot of hype to them, rightfully so. Ole Miss, in addition to Lane Kiffin, is replacing half their team. Even though Ole Miss is at home to a 2-touchdown favorite in Florida, I think Florida does well. Florida wants to make a strong opening statement. Ole Miss will take a few games, much like Mississippi State against LSU. Same thing with LSU, which we'll get to that game in a minute. I like Florida to cover the 14 over Ole Miss. Georgia, Arkansas. I like Arkansas +28. I think this number's very gross, but it has some value with Arkansas. Arkansas is coming off death row, essentially, of SEC schedules. That gives them motivation to at least get this game competitive, and I think they will be for a large chunk of the game. Maybe Georgia doesn't take Arkansas seriously, kind of sleepwalk like they did against Vanderbilt last year. I like Arkansas +26. Texas Tech, really no lean in this game. Same thing with Iowa State, TCU. Mississippi State, LSU. If anything, I like the under. I think it takes a while for both Leach and Orgeron to get to their new offenses. So I like the under 57.5 now. Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, no lean. Under 46 may not be a bad pick. I don't think Vanderbilt scores against Texas A&M. Kentucky, Auburn, I have a lean on. Florida International Liberty, that's one of my free unit plays. Army, Cincinnati, I have a lean. UTEP, Monroe, I have a lean. Duke, Virginia, I have a free unit play on that game. Tulane, Southern Miss, I like Tulane -3.5. I think they'll bounce back after that embarrassing loss to Navy at home when they led by 24 and lost the game outright. I like Tulane -3.5 here. Texas State, Boston College, if anything, I like the over in that game. Texas State's head coach got fired just a couple days ago or resigned. That gives them motivation to do rather well. I think Boston College scores a ton of points on Texas State's defense, so I like the over 57 there. North Carolina State, Virginia Tech, another nasty underdog. I like North Carolina State plus 7. If you can get them at 7, I think they do well against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's coming off a rather sour end last year, plus North Carolina State's played a game Virginia Tech has not. So I lean North Carolina State bet. That is what I have for you guys today. Let's go 6-3 or 7-2 with the college football picks. Week 4, spent a lot of time on these. Lottery ticket. Follow me on Twitter at tickets_lottery. Working hard for you guys every day. Please take a moment to like and subscribe to the video if you get a chance. Peace. I said peace.